The castles and cities of Bannerlord are a beautiful thing. They take us back in time and put us on the walls of these stunningly gorgeous architectural wonders. But if you don't know how to defend them in battle, they can quickly turn into a nightmare. We've all been there, our troops being overrun, men yelling for the retreat. Doesn't there have to be a better way? In this episode, hopefully I can help show you fellas. All right, friends, welcome back again to another episode of Tactical Enlightenment. Our YouTube channel is dedicated to all things Bannerlord related, and especially challenges like this. This challenge is from a guy who's been blowing me up about a mod called Scatter Around, saying it's the best way to use archers in castle defense because you can actually position archers where you want. Well, I still find it inadequate because they don't fucking hide. So I'm, again, going to show basically my strategy for this particular difficult castle to defend. I'm just showing you the Empire troops here. There's 1,000 Empire troops, and of course they have access to all of the troops. And our side, we will play Britannia, and we're going to have 200 troops, so outnumbered 5 to 1. And just to make it harder, we will skip all the tier 5 units, right? So we're going to have nothing but mediocre and weaker infantry, militia, and stuff like that. Now, we do have Britannian Fiend Champs. In this challenge, this guy named Resident, who's got a YouTube channel, he's having a hard time in a campaign battle where he has 60 Britannian Fiend Champs like this, and he's up against a force of 1,000, and he's just been unable to win until he got the Scatter Around mod. Well, hopefully I can show you folks a way of winning without that mod, without all the intricate pointing exactly where you want each individual archer. Now, first, just to demonstrate how difficult this is, we will go ahead and watch the Sergeant fumble through 60 seconds of this. Of course, we'll use the RTS mod here to blaze through this so you guys aren't bored to death. But castles and cities, I would say your normal defense success rate is going to be about 2 to 1, maybe 3 to 1. And what I mean by that is if you have 300 defenders, you can usually count on killing 600 attackers. Obviously, situation dependent. If they have a lot of elite troops or you have a lot of elite troops or whatever, you might have more success. Now, look, they're already kind of using the Scatter Around, right? The Britannian Fiend Champions here are in each little opening here firing away, but they're not taking cover, and so some of them, of course, are being shot to pieces. Now, the AI also has a tendency to block the areas where the siege tower and siege rams are coming up, which works at first. But especially if the enemy has archers like this, they will wear those guys out and then blow up one of these sides, at which point you're fucked. Almost everybody who's visited the channel more than a few times knows that I advocate for an inner courtyard defense with rare exception, right? I don't put my Britannian Fiend Champs on the walls. In fact, the AI here is controlling my little hero character and getting butchered. I just don't think this is going to obtain the kill ratio that you need. Like I said, you can usually get about a 2 to 1. So if you have 200 defenders, maybe you can kill 400, 500, 600 at most, using sort of standard defense processes, or in this case, the Sergeant controls, right? In other words, the AI. But you're rarely going to exceed 3 to 1. And obviously, to win this battle against 1,000 Empire troops of higher quality, we must achieve a 5 to 1 or better kill ratio. So, as predictable, we get destroyed here. The Sergeant does an admirable job, or at least a decent job. I don't know if that's admirable. It got about a 2 to 2.5 kill ratio. But the Empire sacks your city, right? If you're playing Britannia, they rampage through here. Your mistress runs off with the enemy commander, and you're left with your rosy palm, right? It's a bad situation for you. You're going to a dungeon, and you're definitely not getting laid by the mistress, right? Now, meanwhile, all your Britannian Fiend Champs, these proud warriors, they scored some kills, but they're also shot to death on the walls because they don't use cover. Until Bannerlord's AI, until these guys duck and hide behind cover like a human player would, this is not the way to defend a castle. It just doesn't work very well. All right, so let's show you guys how to win this castle defense. Now, I want to show you this particular castle also because there's many castles that are identical to this in the map of Calradia. I'm going to try to make a list. I might even include that list in the video title, because I would guess conservatively there are 7 or 8 castles that have this exact layout. Now, I'll show you the kingpin, linchpin to this whole situation. The enemy has 2 ways in to the main courtyard. That's this little slit over here where we're going to block with the square, a square of infantry, and then this other side, it's basically a narrow corridor that we're just not going to let the enemy come in. Right there, we're going to bottle it up. And then this other side over here, same thing. We're going to stick an infantry division, preferably even back a little bit. And positioning here is absolutely vital. And I will talk and show that some more. Now look at this beautiful spot for our archers, where guess what? They won't get shot to pieces, right? I can take a long line of archers here, and I'm just demonstrating now. When we actually set up the troops, I'll show you exactly how you should set your troops up. Now, is this generic? A little bit, right? There are all kinds of ways to defend a castle. I'm not telling you how to defend, or at least how you must defend, but if you want to be successful, this is how you should do it. I've defended against 3 or 4 to 1 already successfully in custom battles, although I don't know if this is going to work. This is 5 to 1, and of course we don't have any elite infantry to hold the squares. Nevertheless, I love a good challenge here, so we're just going to give this a shot. Of course, if I get totally massacred, I will probably fight this battle over again, right? We will save scum, or whatever you want to call that. We will make a second attempt. But I'm pretty sure that we can at least make a better showing than the 450 kills that the allied AI, or however you want to consider it, the sergeants in control achieved, right? In fact, let's win this battle, right? If we do this just right and tinker with the units just right, I think we can design a defense system here that will stop the enemy. Now we're going to build 4 main squares, right? I'm going to have 4 infantry division squares. This is not too different than what a lot of people recommend for battle. The enemy's going to come over here, so you can put a square there. Now I prefer to move it back a little bit, and the reason is because we can then have archers down in the courtyard shooting those guys in the back. Over here, notice this line of sight, right? This little corridor that leads to where they're coming up the ladder of the siege tower over there. I like to put some of the weak archers right here. These guys need to be weak because they really don't have a lot of targets, and they're not going to be doing major damage. So I'll click this little button that says give preference to lower tier, and in our scenario here, they'll all be weak militia. Still, it's extra guys that are shooting and peppering the enemy while they're rallying to make an attack. Now here I'm going to put the skirmishers, right? And this is just an extra layer of projectiles. Almost all these guys have a couple 3 javelins, and they will fire it into the back of the enemy as they come up to that square. Now we'll hold fire until the enemy's close to there, and then we'll have those guys unleash volleys of javelins, hopefully right into the back of the enemy. Now the 5th Corps, actually I want to change this. Let's see how we're going to do this. I like to have a division down here. Something like that. That way there's a whole bunch of archers with line of sight where they can spray everything at multiple different angles. The enemy's going to be coming in around trees, and there's going to be barriers in their way sometimes, right? When you put your units on the field, it's really up to you exactly where they stand, right? And of course, that's the whole idea of the scatter around mod. I will play around with it some more. I'm not dismissing the mod as worthless. I know it has some value, but the scatter around mod takes an incredible amount of micromanaging. If you set this up at the beginning like this, right, with your Britannian Fiend champs, and I'm just doing this to be extra sharp here, do we have a higher chance to win? If we were fighting a 3 to 1, I wouldn't even bother looking at their line of sight. But between that 7th Corps of elite Britannian Fiend champs and then this big long line here at the back, and those guys have an incredible view, right, of the whole courtyard. Those guys are going to be firing away at everything coming in here, including the troops attacking our other archers. If you run this setup here with this sort of ingredients of angles for your archers to fire away, I expect you'll far exceed the success of the standard scatter around or anything else. Again, because the archers don't take cover. You can call that poor design by Tailworlds. That's fine. I agree, right? The archers should take cover. Until they do, don't put them on the walls, right? You're just asking for your archers to get killed. Now, again, the caveat to that is if you have either a massive amount of high-level archers or the enemy only has 2 or 3 times your number, well, that's fine. Put archers on the walls. But you also don't need assistance from YouTube if the enemy only has 2 or 3 times your number in siege. You should be winning, right? Shouldn't have any problems. Now, I'm a little bit lost here. I'm trying to get to this catapult. Admittedly, this guy didn't do any catapult work in the first battle. The AI was just in charge of him. But I want to get kind of a line of sight. To be perfectly honest, I haven't really been on this tower too much, and I want to see the line of sight here for my own campaign. We're in the middle of an Aserai campaign, and it's very possible I'll have to defend a castle like this soon. It never hurts to do your homework, right? Just like Napoleon getting 2 hours of sleep before the Battle of Austerlitz, right? Drank his coffee, got out there after he had scouted the battlefield, and he destroyed the Austrians. Right, we're going to do that here. Now, what I see right away is that this tower sucks. I'm not staying here. The guy loading my catapult already got shot to death, right? So that just tells you that at least with these tier 2 walls, I think that's what we have here, that spot is way too vulnerable to try and use the catapult. I will move the catapult somewhere else in the actual playthrough. Now, let's see. We've got the fire catapult. I'm trying to think of the best way to get there fast. I'd like to throw a handful of fire catapults down on the troops before they get in the door. But honestly, I think I've botched this pretty bad. Not the positioning of our troops. I'm pretty confident about that. But my own catapult management here, I think, gets a D. I might even be failure here, like a straight F, because the troops are pouring through the gate, and I haven't thrown a single. I don't know if we scored a single kill with our counter siege here. In a way, though, that's good because it just shows you in this situation what happens if you don't do anything with your siege, right? Can you still win in this castle? I don't know if we can, to be perfectly honest, but let's see what we can do here. Hey, you know what? We've got a nice little alternative here. These guys are going to get bottled up on the squares, and this is something I just discovered, right? I didn't plan this. I've been botching this, but look at these guys. They're bound up here in the walkway there. Kaboom, right? It's almost as good as throwing at them in the front gate, right? I killed 10 guys and injured 5 more, and I'll be able to get at least a couple of more of these chucked out there. Although that time my aim wasn't very good. Don't worry, I am going to show you what's going on down there. I'm trying to exact a little bit of revenge for my botching the initial stages here. See if we can't throw a fireball or 2 more. Now, the main idea, oh shit, these guys are pouring up. Motherfucker, man, I really have botched this siege attempt. Well, you can go ahead and fail me, Professor. I definitely slept in, didn't do my homework, and ate an onion before class today. But strategically, or at least tactically, I think we have, a passing grade. I can already see the death spam as our archers, and of course the Fiend Champs destroy everything in sight. You can sort of see what's going on here, right? The enemy's pouring in, but they're running into this death chamber, right? It's basically a series of squares that bottle them up, slow them down, or distract them, and then they get shot to death, right? You're relying on our archers, but the most critical thing to understand here is that their archers, are they routing already? I think they're rallying. I think they realize they can't come in piecemeal. They're probably going to rally a huge surge. But they realize, at this stage that if they come in 3, 4, 5, 6 at a time, they're just going to get shot to pieces. Oh shit, this square's dead. This square, I had a square right here, and all I see are carcasses of the dudes that were here. So, what are we going to do, right? We're going to take that second corps that was sort of an extra infantry division. I like to call them an auxiliary division, and we're going to put those guys over there, right? We're basically... we're putting them where they're needed the most, right? And that's the whole idea of an auxiliary division, is basically the flexibility to move these guys around. Now I got to get at least 1 kill with these stones, right? Drill 1 guy. Catch, motherfucker. Drilled him in the back. And the corpses are starting to stack up here. And you can see this will be perfect. Your line of sight's going to be beautiful from here. You're just going to be able to watch these guys come in and catch 27 arrows. Right? These guys come in, the square's there. If they don't attack the square, they're charging right at 15 archers, 20 archers. And it's a firing squad. Now, so far, obviously there's a huge initial flush, hence the bodies draped over the stone and shit here. It's a graveyard. It's an ugly mess. That is my favorite animation, where they're like trying to hold on to the thing in their jugular because they realize they're gonna bleed out if the javelin moves at all while it's stuck in their jugular. It's a pretty good animation. But look at this firing squad right now. They're got to be developing a bunch of troops somewhere. What I mean by that is they must be rallying. It says there's 250 troops over here because the enemy AI likes to rally troops in situations like this instead of being shot to pieces 2 at a time. It's actually good AI. So we'll see which direction it comes from. They're kind of trickling in over here, and they're getting exterminated. I mean, I can literally just kind of fuck around here, throw a few javelins. If I had to guess, I would say they're going to be coming in from the other direction. It said 255 infantry over there. I don't know for sure, of course, but if I had to guess, and I'm just fucking around here, get out of here with that shit. I would have to guess that there's a huge amount stacked up over on the right here. You know, and they don't have any chance here, right? They'd have to come in a huge wave to have any success. This stuff, like 10 at a time, ain't gonna work. And I better not take another mace here. I'm gonna be knocked out. But they're getting shot in the back. And we'll just fast forward this. I think you guys now see how effective this is, right? Half their force is dead already, and the other half must be rallying for an attack. It's a beautiful game, especially when you're successful, right? These guys are just coming in. It's a firing squad. Here comes a surge, although that's still only like 20 guys. They must be coming from the other direction, because this side is trickle. Oh, here we go. Oh, shit, and I don't have... Oh, yeah, I do. They're just back a ways. Okay, so this is a huge fucking crushing Zerg. And you know what? Let's borrow some from this 3rd Division. Nobody's attacking it. We'll just simply shift some of these troops over, right? It's like a football game. If they're rushing hard on your right side and they're blitzing, you put more fucking blockers over there. And very suddenly, it's just a massacre, right? The death spam is scrolling incredibly fast. It's almost all the enemy. And I think they just routed. Yeah, that is it already. I mean, that was... Of course, it's the RTS mod speeds it up. But this is a beautiful... I mean, tell me you don't want to live in this countryside. I'm raising my hand. And also, tell me you don't want to use this strategy, right? This was the same strategy that the AI got butchered. We didn't just win. This is a lopsided Ronald Reagan 1980s election landslide, right? We destroyed the Fiend Champs here. That is a 20-to-1 kill ratio. And incidentally, by the way, this square's position is essential. If they are here, or even worse, here, then you lose, because your archers are shooting at the shields of the enemy, right? So it's critical, the location of your units in a siege defense like this. And obviously, the ingredients I just showed you right here, this is how to do it. So you can do it other ways, fellas. You guys, you know, it's a free world. Some guys might call this chicken shit exploitive. I don't care. I'm just giving you guys the keys to win your difficult sieges in your own game, right? That challenge that Resonant went through, and he was using the scatter around mod and doing everything, racking his brain to figure it out. Well, here's the answer, fellas. Share it around, right? Maybe Resonant someday will watch this video and he'll all of a sudden he'll be changing how successful he is in his campaign. Who knows? All right, well, so we'll do more of these challenges, especially if you guys want to see them. All you got to do is put it in the comments. Tell me your situation. Tell me what you want to see, and I'll do my best, fellas. With all that said, I will talk to you guys next time.